This is the Bethune-Cookman University Wildcat News Feed on Sirius XM, Radio Channel 142. HBCU, broadcasting from the Wildcat Lab in Daytona Beach, Florida. WELE 1380, The Cat. It's time to hear the good news from BCU.
Good afternoon and welcome to the BCU Wildcat Newsfeed, also known as hashtag BCU Talk Tuesday. Today we will be talking about what it's like to be a Christian on a college campus and the journey that comes with it. Many students come to college and have memorable experiences that shape their spiritual, sociological, and relational journey for the rest of their lives, and we want to focus on that today. Some parents are even afraid, if we're honest, to send their students off to college because they are concerned about what they will be exposed to. However, as a Spelman alumna, I know all too well that our journey is something that we can only walk out and experience for ourselves. It's during this experience that our family, guardians, mentors, and pastors must have faith in what they have taught us and allow us to experience life for ourselves, praying that the seeds they have sowed will be enough. So, here to tell us more about their personal journey and how BCU has helped shape them as women ready for the world, as they are both seniors. First, we have Miss Tyriana Harris. How are you?
I'm great. My name is Tyriana Harris. I am a senior here at Bethune-Cookman University, a psychology major hailing from the beautiful city of Jacksonville, Florida.
Absolutely, and please forgive me for mispronouncing it, even though I pronounced it well before we started the show. Oh, I'm so nervous, but I'm super excited. Okay, our second guest we have with us, Miss Jasmine Sanders. Welcome.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Jasmine, your classification, your journey here at BCU.
I am a senior at Bethune-Cookman University. I'm from Polk County, Florida. There's not really much to me. I'm a PK, so my life revolves around the church.
Okay, I'm glad to know that. So that will make the conversation even more interesting as well. And I'm a PK as well, so I think that'll be a great perspective for individuals listening. So let's get right to it. Ladies, is it possible to love God and still enjoy the collegiate experience?
Absolutely.
Yes, without a doubt, yes.
Okay.
To elaborate, my dad always told me it's okay to have fun, just don't let it taint your witnessing. So it's okay to go, have friends, be a part of different things. Just don't let it consume you to the point where you lose sight of God.
I totally agree. That is something that my grandmother always told me. It's definitely okay to live your life. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to have friends. It's okay to do all the things that you feel like you should enjoy in college, but you never forget that God comes first in all the decisions that you make.
Now, speaking of making sure that God comes first in everything that you do, how did you ladies balance that or make sure that God was always the focus even while you were having fun on campus?
Well, I would say that it definitely takes a lot of sacrifice. You won't be able to attend all activities, but it's something that you should hold strong to. It's something that consulting God is always something that you should do no matter what the activity is or what it is you're getting ready to be involved in. But it does take a lot of self-reflection, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of times you won't be able, like I said, to enjoy every activity, but that's okay too.
And honestly, it's still an ongoing thing. You're never not going to be able to, I'm not sure how I should say this without turning anybody around, but it's an ongoing, it's a process. Yeah. That's what we've always learned. Definitely. It's always a process. So sometimes God's not going to be at the forefront of your mind, but it's good to reel back in yourself,
right,
and be like, okay, is this pleasing God? And that's just go from there, because we're all going to fall, but we just have to get back up and keep on going.
So I have a question here, and I think our audience probably knows from the way that you answered the first question, but were you all Christian, and did you all have a relationship with God before you came to campus? And if so, have you encountered a friend who didn't necessarily know God before they came to campus? And if so, can you tell us about their period of growth while here and you helping them through that?
I did come to Cookman as a Christian, but I found God at college.
Okay.
So I was in church, I did know God or so have it, but I found God when I came here. I built my relationship when I came here because it wasn't based on what my parents taught me, what I saw in the church. It was now me and God. That's all I had here. And from there, I can even talk about, well, one of my roommates, we're not going to name names, but
Sure.
one of my roommates, you know, we were definitely not on the same page, but me seeing her lifestyle made me go deeper into God so I could be that light. I mean, we all fall, like I said before, but seeing that made me just want to grow stronger in Christ so I could actually be the light and, you know, just help him out as far
That's
as
good. That's good.
She definitely answered the question the exact same way I was going to answer it. But when I first came to college, I was a Christian. But I think like a lot of my friends who came to college that were Christian, we were busy doing the work in the church and not necessarily devoting time to a relationship with God. So being in college not necessarily forced me, but because I was alone and by myself, it gave me a reason to connect with God and truly know him for myself without it having anything to do with my parents' relationship with him.
And what you said was so powerful about you had a relationship with God, or you were Christian, but you found him at BCU. And I think that's a testimony of a lot of students, because we do church as we're shown as kids, right? We go to church on Sunday, we go to Bible study on Tuesday, we go to the youth events on Saturday, and we do what our parents said because they said do it and it's the right thing, right? But we don't know why. Now, why do you think it's at college that people find God or they find themselves?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
I think when you come to college, you have no other choice but to. You can't base it off of what you've seen other people go through or anything. Now you actually had that experience. You go through actual things that shape your mind into becoming more solid in Christ. You go through those experiences of loneliness. Sometimes we face depression. And even like homosexuality sometimes falls upon us, but then we go and we think like, okay, this is not what I was taught. This is brand new. So I got to find not another outlet, but I got to go back to what I was taught. And then we just reel ourselves back in, and that's how we form a relationship with Christ, a personal relationship.
I would definitely say, to add to that, adulting has a way of making you realize just how much you really need God and how much your relationship with God is so important, because when you're out here by yourself and you're not, and I say by yourself, meaning that you're not in your parents' house every day and you're not in their care every day of the week. When you're out here in college and it's solely based upon what you do and the decisions that you make, you realize that I cannot do this by myself. Like, I need some type of spiritual something to keep me sustained.
Now, Jasmine, my fellow PK, what was it like being a PK on a college campus, or just coming to college as a PK? Because I know every student, every parent has a concern, right? But I think if you are a preacher, you know, you really are concerned about sending your child to college, and then there's that stigma that follows you. So can you talk to that?
Well, not only am I a PK, I am the only girl of 5 boys, so it was definitely, I was exposed to a lot growing up, but I was exposed to maybe like enough to keep me kind of sustained when I was in college. But, you know, it was always, oh, here comes the PK, or here comes the Jesus girl, or, you know, the famous line, oh, PKs are the worst, and everything like that. So that just made me even more kind of secured. Well, maybe like, no, I don't want to say kind of walking on eggshells, but it made me very careful of how I presented myself to my peers, knowing that I was a PK and knowing how my parents raised me, and knowing that they wouldn't want me out here just doing anything all willy-nilly, as the old folks say. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Now, was there ever a moment that you guys got to college and you were like, whew, thank you, Lord, I don't have to go to church every Sunday? Like, you took a break from quote unquote religion, or it was like, I gotta find a church home, I've got to get involved?
When I came here, it was immediately I gotta find a church. Well, with me, I live 2 hours away, so I was literally going home every weekend back to my home church to participate. But the weekends that I did stay here, I did find a church home, and it wasn't, I'm not gonna say it was easy, because some things they just really didn't agree with me, or I didn't feel at home, that home feeling. But yeah, I'm automatically I gotta find a church. I can't function.
Well, now, different from me, I was not a PK, but I had been in church since I was 2 years old. So when I got to Cookman, I was running away from it. I wanted no parts of the church at all. Like, I wanted to try life on my own.
Absolutely.
And I failed, and I came back to church.
Amen. Me too.
Hashtag testimony. Yes. Now, why did you all want to come on the radio and to share your experience today?
Well, I feel like there's not enough college students that know that it is, that you can live a life devoted to God and still have fun. And I feel like they need to hear that there are people out there just like them that are still trying to figure this thing out. Like me and Jasmine are like far from perfect, but what we do realize is that we're set apart, and we try to live a life that reflects how set apart we are.
Right. And to piggyback off that, like I've said before, we're not all perfect. We're still struggling. We still have things that we go through as well, but it's good to know that you have somebody that's going through with you.
Right.
That you have somebody to depend on, somebody to have you, to hold you accountable. So, yeah.
Absolutely. As you all talk about why you wanted to come on the radio today, and I thought the interview was so important, is I was listening to someone talk last night about the importance of exposure. A lot of young people don't know what to expect or can't expect much of themselves in college, or hold themselves to a higher standard because they haven't been exposed to that. They think I come to college, I go wild. They don't know that there's another, option to that. There's an option to come to college, have fun, and still love God and be cute and fly while you do it too.
Right.
And so showing you all stories and you all's faces is proof to people that there's another way, to enjoy the college experience. Now, how has BCU specifically helped you all grow in your faith?
Well, I would say that we have the benefit of being at a college that is small in number. So because of that, we have access to having conversations with people that you wouldn't necessarily expect to have these conversations with. Like, you can sit and have lunch with the provost, or sit and have lunch with the president. And I did a campus tour for a basketball recruit yesterday, and she said something to me that really caught my attention. I took her to the office of chaplaincy, and she said, I did not know the chaplains were so personable. And for me, I was like, well, why wouldn't they be? But for her, she sees college on a whole new level. She doesn't get to see or have these conversations with these type of people. So I think that because we have the benefit of being at a university that is small and having these conversations with people, you get to see these adults who live the life of having fun and still being devoted to God. And because you have those great examples, it makes it a little bit more easier to live this life.
For me specifically, I think that being a part of the chapel assistants really helped me, because I think if it wasn't for them, or if it wasn't for the praise team or the things that I was involved in that were based on Christianity, I probably would just be out there like everybody else, not saying just kind of like wild or whatever, but being a part of that kind of held me accountable. So it made me grow in my faith as to, like, when things come up, immediately go to prayer. That's what we're always taught.
Right.
And it was just basically an eye-opener. It definitely took me out of my shell as far as faith, because now I can stand bold and declare the word of God. Before I was just kind of like background, like, okay, well, they'll eventually learn. But now it's like, we're at the forefront now. Basically, we're fighting a war, like the front line of the war. So basically, yeah.
So Jasmine talked about how being a part of the chaplaincy department changed her life. She said it made her more bold in her faith. Right. How has it helped develop you as a woman, or changed you since being involved?
So when I became a chaplain assistant, I was a freshman. And it was like right after being in school for 3 months. And like I said, at that time I was running away from church. And they were the first people that I met that were totally unashamed of their Christianity. And I said to myself, I remember when I used to be that way. So because they were such a great and godly example of what it meant to truly live out faith, I immediately was drawn to them. And it was after being in there for a year and just being on fire for God and standing up bold in his presence and being able to intercede for people and just, living out that true Christianity, I said to myself, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And it is because of that I am totally unashamed.
Wow.
I am unapologetically Christian.
Amen.
Now, why do you all think people are so ashamed of sharing their faith on campus, and not just at BCU, but when they go to college?
I think people like to be liked, and if it's not necessarily popular, then they don't want it. So if they're not going to necessarily be in the center of attention, then they tend to not want it. And I think because it's, like I said, because it's not popularized, nobody wants it. But for me, and I think, like I said, being at Cookman, we have the opportunity to express boldly and be loud about our Christianity. It has now become the new popular thing.
Right. And like Ty said, it's not popular, and it's not going to feel good because you're not always going to be liked.
Right.
You're going to go through so much, but I feel like that's okay because you know that, okay, I'm going through this for a reason.
Right.
I'm here for a reason, and whatever that I'm doing that lines up with my faith is going to have a great outcome because the Lord never promises anything that's going to be bad or torment us or hurt us. So, like,
can you all share with us one of you all's experiences of receiving that pushback and what that was like and how you handled it?
Pushback, what do you mean pushback? Like,
with people not liking you or you not being the cool person or being like, oh, here she comes. You know, she's about to be like, let's have a Bible study at 10 o'clock on the dorm floor. How you handled that criticism or how you used what was negative and turned it into a positive?
Well, I can only speak for myself, but if somebody doesn't, like me or want to accept me, it's just kind of like, okay, well, you're lost, honestly. But that's just me. So, Ty.
Okay, like, I agree with her. I've always been that person where, if you didn't necessarily like me, I just was like, well, this is just your opinion. And it was what it was. But I feel like when you are a boldly Christian and it's not necessarily accepted, in the beginning, it definitely hurts because it's like, why don't they like me? I'm telling the truth. But I would definitely say that being Christian causes you to develop some tough skin. Mm-hmm. And then you realize that for God I live and for God I die. And whether you like what I say or not is just up to you. It won't stop me from saying it. It won't stop me from exposing you to the truth.
Right.
Now, we talked about this idea of being Christian pushing people away. But is there any case where you've seen where being involved in the chaplaincy department or being open about your faith has attracted people to you that you haven't necessarily expected?
Absolutely. Like, when we first became chaplain assistants, it was about, 10 of us? There are now currently almost 60 chaplain assistants in the program. So it is very, very true that when your light shines, you draw people to you.
Correct.
So, I think that because we are so unapologetically Christian and because we're so bold about who we are, we actually draw people more to us more.
Right. And the key to that is being relatable. Like, if you can't relate to the people, how are they going to trust you and how are they going to feel like they can be a part of what you are a part of? So it's a big deal to be relatable and not just be, oh, I'm Christian and I'm holier than thou. It's cool to stay low. You know what I'm saying? Be humble in your Christianity. Boast in the Lord. That's what the Bible says.
Right. Come on, somebody. # be humble. Okay. Now, what have been some of the greatest temptations you've seen college students face?
Peer pressure.
Most definitely.
Definitely peer pressure. I feel like we just live in a generation where, we're not always leaders. Sometimes we fall acceptable to being a follower. And if you're not necessarily having someone in your life that is causing you to do better, you fall quickly to it.
Yes, I totally agree. I think the main thing for people who are here at Cookman, well, not here at Cookman, just in college in general, one of the main things is the partying situation. Like, you're always going to want to have fun, go to parties and everything like that. That is the main thing, because I promise every day I see a flyer for a different party or a kickback or anything like that, and it's just like, man, if I want to save, or like, Lord, you better sit on me, Holy Ghost, sit on me.
Okay, all right. Now, and maybe you answered this, Jasmine. Now, personally, being real, because we have people listening to the broadcast, what would you say have been some of the greatest temptations that you all have faced during your own collegiate career?
I would agree with Jasmine, the partying.
Yes.
Okay.
That is definitely a big one.
It's definitely a big one.
Okay. Now, there are some students on here on the line listening who might be thinking about going to a religious institution compared to an HBCU that just has faith roots, like an Oral Roberts University over a Bethune-Cookman University. What would you say to them?
I mean, I would say that if your mind is if you're interested in going to a faith-based institution, I would say go for it. I did not apply to Cookman knowing that it was faith-based. That was not the forefront of me applying to the university. But I will say that because it is faith-based, I've had the benefit of having people carry me through this journey. So like I've had the benefit of when there was a crisis in my life, being able to talk through it with somebody who wasn't just clinically sound, but also was scripturally sound. So it was great to be able to have these type of conversations with people that knew exactly where I was coming from and were trying to help me be a better person. So, I mean, I think it's a great opportunity.
I would definitely say go for it because it's not the common thing to do. If you want to be set apart, if you want to be, if you want to be set apart, just go for it. Like, I mean, college is always going to be there. And Christianity is always going to be there too, but there's going to come a point in time where it's just like, okay, well, what's next? I've tried everything that I can, so there's got to be something greater, and that's what Cookman provided me as far as faith.
Wonderful. Now, was it easy for you all to find a church home? I know you went back for the first, I think you said six months now. Are you still going back home?
Still.
You're still okay.
I'm a senior, still going back home.
So let me ask her, was it easy for you to find a church home?
I mean, in essence it is, because I mean where our campus sits, we're like in the heart of so many different ministries.
Every corner.
There is
literally
a church on every
corner.
corner. So it is not difficult to find a church home. I think it's more difficult to stay committed. But I'm like Jasmine, I go home every weekend.
Right.
So
Okay.
See, my going home is different from just like, just going home.
Right.
I'm very active in my church because my dad's a pastor. So the praise and worship leader, the youth choir, the adult choir, Sunday school secretary, all of that. So that's mainly my reasoning for going home. But being here, it was kind of easy to just, you have so many options. So it's not like, I don't think it's very hard. Like Ty said, it's the commitment thing.
Right.
And a lot of us don't really commit to church.
So what would you all say to someone who doesn't have a university that's surrounded by churches? Like they are in the middle of nowhere. They don't have a church service on campus on every Sunday. How do they maintain their relationship with God, or even let alone find one and establish one?
Listen, this is a good little thing called YouTube.
yes.
That is life.
Yes.
Let me tell you. I go to, even if I do miss church, go to YouTube. You can type in Michael Todd, Jasmine Scholark, or anything like that, and you can literally,
Yes
you
to
can,
Jasmine.
I love her. You can literally go and find anything. There's different apps. I have an Elevation app on my phone.
Hello Elevation,
And
Stephen Furtick.
Yes, I love him. See, and
Sprinkle of
those are the
Jesus.
type of things. Like, we love our phones.
Right.
Go to your phone. Like, it's so accessible. Like, it's literally at the palm of your hand.
Right.
Yeah.
You
And
don't
so
even
many
have to go outside. Just, lay in your bed. turn
so
your
many
YouTube
churches
on.
live stream their services for that purpose, because they know there are college students out there that can't
Correct.
necessarily get in their congregation, so they live stream on purpose for you to be able to watch it.
All right, so I see our producer telling us we have 3 minutes left, so let me run through these questions, and if each one of you all want to answer just one by yourself. What has been your most memorable encounter with God during your time at BCU?
There have been so many. But I think the one that I remember the most and the one that has impacted my life the most is when I was sitting in the Friday Night Live service, and church was going on and everybody was in these high praise moments, and I literally was able to sit, no matter what was going on around me, but I was literally able to sit and have a conversation with the Holy Ghost. And I think for me, that did something for me, because I was like, God, as much as what's going on around me and as much as everybody is getting what they need, you still came to see about me.
Right. That's awesome. I would say the same thing. I think it was Friday Night Live in January, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
that's the Friday Night Live.
Honestly, I've been here for 4 years, and that was the best Friday Night Live I've ever encountered.
Wow.
It was awesome.
Wow, I'm literally like sitting here getting chills listening to you all talk about that. But that's so great that you can have that experience at college and you know that that's available to you. Now let's plug Friday Night Live. How often is it? When is it?
So Friday Night Live is the last Friday of every month.
Yes.
Last one we had was phenomenal.
Yes.
And Friday Night Live services are student-led services, so there is not an adult on the program except for us, and it is a service for students by students, and it is a awesome time in the Lord.
And it's totally chill. You don't have to come dressed in your Sunday best.
Right.
You can wear jeans, shorts, not too short, but just a t-shirt, anything, and you could just be free. It's just a free worship
It's a
experience.
free form of worship.
Right.
good. Now, how have you all grown in your spiritual journey from your freshman year to now your senior year where you all are?
Well, I would definitely say that my freshman year was a little rocky for me. There was a lot of personal attacks. But from there to now, I can definitely say that my boldness about who I am and what I stand for is so much better than it used to be. Like I said, I am unapologetically Christian. I am for God. So I would definitely say that being here has definitely taught me to be bold about what you love.
Right, and I agree. She said
That's it. Okay. All right. So closing out with our listeners, if we have someone on the line who's feeling torn, right? They love to party, but now they're finally figuring out this isn't right for me. I don't feel comfortable in the room. I'm not happy. The joy that I had before, I don't have joy anymore. And they really have a yearning for God, but they don't know where to start. None of their friends, love God or are Christians. Where should they start?
I would say embrace that feeling. Don't run from it.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
run towards it. If anything, if you feel something like tugging on your heart, go for it. And it honestly starts with the conversation.
Yeah,
like just pray, and make it personal. God, I need you. Like this what I'm going through right now. I know there's got to be something greater. So you got to help me. It's just being personal.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for coming in the studio today to talk with us about what it's like to be Christian on a college campus, but still be young, fly, and have fun at the same time. So thank you so much for tuning into this hashtag BCU Talk Tuesday, also known as the Wildcat Newsfeed, and we will see you next week.